And good morning, and welcome to January the 6th. Doesn't it sound kind of odd saying January already? Another year of our lives is rolling. It's already 6:30. How are you? 61 as we wait for, and again, I said the J word. It's going to be 73 today. Details on that forecast and how long this warmth will last up and coming in a few moments there. We'll have that right around the corner. Plus all your local headlines at 7 o'clock. Don't miss out on the show there. And we'll have what's going on in America in just a few moments. Right now, as always, we try to start each and every show with a good word from the good Lord above. And let's go out to Collinsville now, First Baptist Church. We'll be right back.
Back in 2005, I had the privilege of leading a group of students and adults on a mission project in Los Angeles. We went there to help out two churches in the area by conducting a sports camp. The Sunday before the camp started, we spent time going into neighborhoods, handing out information about the camp that would start on Monday. I remember being kind of down because there didn't seem to be just a whole lot of interest. On that Monday morning, though, over 100 children showed up, eager to not only play sports, but to hear the teaching that went on during the day. Our students and adults poured their hearts out to the children in the sharing of the gospel, and that experience demonstrated to us that the gospel is for all people. In Matthew 2:10 through 12, we read further about how the Magi came to visit Jesus in Bethlehem. It says when they saw the star, they were overjoyed. On coming to the house, they saw the child with his mother Mary, and they bowed down and worshiped him. Then they opened their treasures and presented him with gifts of gold and of incense and of myrrh. And having been warned in a dream not to go back to Herod, they returned to their country by another route. When these pagan men realized that the star had led them to Bethlehem, stopped over the house where Jesus now lived with his parents, they were overjoyed. They had found the one whom even they had declared to be King of the Jews in verse 2. And what did they do? They bowed down, worshiped him, and presented him with gifts. Now, we don't know if their worship was a sign of their conversion, but these pagan Gentile magi, pursuing the one who had been born to save his people from their sins, is yet another demonstration that the good news of Jesus is for everyone. As we journey into this new year, may we take the good news of the gospel with us, desiring to share with all who will listen. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry. And good morning. I hope you're doing well. Good morning to Charlotte, joining us from Philadelphia, wherever you're watching from. I hope you're having a wonderful day. I see Chunky, Mississippi. Miss Susan, how are you doing? Diane is joining us as well. Lots to cover today. And again, another good show coming up at the top of the hour. Also, we'll get into the forecast in a few moments and lay all of that out as we look at what's going on around the nation and things that affect you. As we look at Japan, we may have brought this up just a tad yesterday, but no tsunami was issued. A 6.2 magnitude earthquake near Japan. Serious. But again, no tsunami detected with that. That was the good news out of that story. Maybe there's a market for this and I just don't know it. Now, I know there's a lot of you who know who Pokemons are. The Pokemon cards, let me word that. I personally would have no use for one of these cards, would you? But apparently, somewhere someone does. Armed robbers hit a store in L.A. and stole $500,000 worth of the cards. Really? They're worth that? I guess I have trouble understanding that. Now, a baseball card, I understand they're also worth a lot of money. I can understand a baseball card. A Babe Ruth card. Truly, I get that. But a Pokemon, $500,000 worth stolen. Huh. I don't guess those Elvis cards ever became anything, did they? Jeff Lewis, good morning. as we look at Denmark, the PM is more or less begging Trump to stop saying that he's going to annex Greenland. Don't hold your breath over there, is the best I can tell you. I'm going to read you this, and I'll tell you some cowboy logic. Cowboy logic is usually right on. It's usually straight and simple. Beaver reduction happened in the United States years ago, and I believe it was Idaho that during the 40s and 50s, they dropped some beavers in, and this would be beavers, or the pelts are used for things, and hunters were after them there. Someone posted this morning, and again, this just goes right along with cowboy logic. If we imported tens of millions of beavers to the West, that would make more valuable contribution to our society than those hordes of people our rulers have allowed in. Poor boy. Used to, when you became or were led into the United States, you had to bring forth something that you were going to do for the nation, a trade that was beneficial to the U.S., instead of opening the gate and telling the guards to look the other way. It's a new sheriff in town, I believe, though. I had to look this up. Now, I don't know I know very little about British television. Very little. And I looked this woman up. And she is Kate Hopkins. Anybody ever heard of her? She is a media personality across the pond. And this is, I'll show you her picture here. This is from her account on X. And if you'll see that writing there, it says 160 pounds of pure American beef. I listened to that, and I almost blushed for the old fella. Pete Hegseth, the guy that runs the Department of War, apparently this woman has a crush on him. And again, she's in media across the pond, and she went on about how she thought he was all that in a bag of chips. And I can't repeat what she said. You'll just have to go listen to that. But we'll leave it at that. You just listen to that. So is America falling out of love with pizza? I read an article on this last night. Pizza, it's the go-to, or it was, when you need something quick and simple. Pizza joints used to pop up all the time, but America is changing its taste, apparently. What do you think the number one restaurant is that Americans go choose now? Have you thought? Well, it turns out that it's coffee shops and Mexican food. It is very popular. We've got a lot here, some great choices in town. But that has become the go-to food across America now. It's outselling pizza left and right. That's where Americans go. Thought you might want to do that if you're choosing your next meal. The Arizona Supreme Court was evacuated after a suspicious package showed up, and they had it tested, and it showed all the signs of something that could make a loud noise. We'll put it that way. The Arizona Supreme Court was evacuated immediately. No one was hurt. An investigation has been launched into who delivered this and how it got there. Can't have things like that going on in America. I also had to look this guy up. And maybe I live in a sheltered world. And I don't know everybody. But has anybody, and I have to, how many times have you gone to church and been told so long as there's life left in your body, if you ask for forgiveness, you'll be led into heaven? Well, it's there. It's true. And I had to look this fella up. I had never heard of him. His name is Scott Adams. He was a popular comic who wrote, who was it that he did? Delbert, the comic strip. Did it for years. He's written books, that and the other. And apparently at some point during his life, he wasn't a Christian. It looks as though he is suffering a disease and is in his final stages of life and has professed his Christianity to everyone and is asked to be in the house above. So we congratulate him. And again, I didn't know a whole lot about him, but it is strong for someone to correct a wrong. Do you know where I'm going with that? I've studied this map, and we're right up amongst it. Alabama is a little bit worse. flu. I put that in the headlines this morning. 30 states across America are having a hard time with it. But the southern states, as we look at this, Mississippi is the least among the southern states. Now, we got it bad, don't get me wrong. Everywhere you go, somebody's sniffling. It's pretty rough here. We're worse than a lot of other states. We're in the very high category. But Alabama, Georgia, and the Carolinas are worse than Mississippi. And I say all this to remind you to wash your hands a lot, make sure what you do, and if you got a call for sneeze or whatever it is, cover as much. Supposed to watch those door handles too, aren't you? When you
yeah, wipe them down.
Wipe them down there. That is probably the easiest way to catch something. Or one of these here mouses. You grab hold of one of those and somebody's sick, and man, you got it. I do my best. I've had it already once this year. I had to go get my shot once this year of whatever the feel-good pill that you get. Yeah, whatever Odie just said, it made me do bat flips at 2 a.m. It made me feel like $1 million. I'm all for it. I used to, and I was one of those, and I think a lot of people do this. I'm not going to the doctor. Let me tell you what. Now, if I get a sniffle, head it off at the pass, cut it off as quickly as you can. Although I will not do the flu shot. No sirree. Here is something sad as I read this, and y'all all will know who I'm talking about. She had somebody very famous that was her half-sister. Eva Scholes. She was the half-sister of Anne Frank. She has passed away at the age of 96. You've heard the term hell on earth. Most of us will never really know what that means. Anne Frank did. That did happen. It was a part of history. Let history never repeat itself. We got somebody else in trouble that's been indicted. Oh, have mercy. And this is getting back to 5 years. And this just shows you how slow our court system is. Let's go back to the pandemic. We've got another Georgia lawmaker that is in trouble and indicted for pandemic fraud. She claimed that she had to close her business for an extended period of time. During that, she was paid for it. And guess what? They've discovered it was not closed, but only for a few days. There is no telling how many millions of your dollars that were wasted that we will never recover. Y'all think about that. Not to mention what happened in Minnesota, is it? We'll get to that in just a moment there. Kansas, Lawrence, Kansas. We don't know all the details, but we know that an armed city employee had to take someone out. It was the 4th floor of the city building as somebody broke into where the mayor's office was. We don't know what went on, but the city worker had to take the suspect down. We don't know how aggressive this person was. There's not a lot been told about it. Police have been called, but the guy is trained and should have had a equalizer on him. That's the word. He equalized the situation without a doubt. Everyone was safe and no one was hurt. These days, you cannot be too careful, can we? We go next to a tweet this morning from Elon Musk. And here's what Elon has to say. The fraud in California, New York, and Illinois is far greater than Minnesota. I'll pay attention to what he just said because we have not gotten to those states yet and know what is in there. Elon goes on to say that on his tweet that my guess it's much fraud happening nationwide, roughly 10% of the federal budget. $700 billion is what Elon Musk is guessing of taxpayer money that is wasted to fraud. Toilet seats do not cost $10,000. People hide things within the federal government. By now, and this all ties together, you have read, and we teased it yesterday morning that we thought it would happen. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz says he is dropping his reelection bid. Now, if you saw tweets from his daughter yesterday, she blamed Trump for it, and that Trump would never be half the man that Tim is.
Because Trump's tall.
Little remarks from over here. Taking the man down. T-Tom is not my kind of fella. at all. And we'll just call him T-Tom, and y'all know his nickname there. He's not going back in because he was doing something wrong or let something go wrong. Here's another interesting twist on all of this. Now, let this sink in. I read this from, who wrote it? A guy named End is what it says. If Elon did not buy Twitter, Tim Walz would be the Vice President of the United States. Instead, his career was ended from a video on Twitter. Boy, that's a lot of truth to that. And the little guy was basically somebody like what we do. We report the news, and he was not part of the legacy media, which is, the big three, kind of like the automakers. He was just a normal guy that done what I do. He stumbled upon something and reported it, and, well, it stopped something nationwide. Proud of him. We are. Wow, oh, wow. Tommy Tuberville. Y'all know that name from Alabama, don't you? He has filled out the proper paperwork, and he has entered the governor's race. He could be your next governor. We'll see what happens with that. Can y'all believe that we're already talking elections? Now, we're 2 years out, which means the process starts now. You've got a year of hard driving, getting names in front of the voters, and here it comes. Y'all be ready. It's going to be happening local as well. What else do we have this morning? New Haven, Connecticut. We don't hear about them much, do we? There was, I wouldn't call it fraud, but we would call it allegations of theft by the police chief. Little town there. And again, this is New Haven. Like many police departments, not everyone, the smaller ones probably don't have as much in this fund, but there is a fund for most police departments to where they give a little bit, let's say, to informants. It depends on whether it's $100, $220, but they have money at their discretion that they can give to people that come bring information to them, and most of the time this is never made public. Oh, boy, if I could... Yes, I do know people that have been paid that. Would it shock Meridian if I were to give those names? It would, and I will not. But I do know. And you know that I know. Did I say that in a nice way?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, I wanted to make sure that they knew that I know what you're doing. He was stealing from this fund. He has resigned. The mayor has accepted his resignation. And again, that's Connecticut. It's a long way off from here, but it also happens in other places across the nation. How many times has it not been caught? And let me say this. If you're in charge of the paperwork, you can have point-blank evidence of someone doing something wrong. But if the paperwork is not done correctly, they will walk scot-free. That could have happened locally also. Hint, hint, and hint. The jury is seated now as we go to Uvalde School, the shooting there. One of the police officers is up for not doing his job. The jury is seated. We'll see where this goes over the next few weeks. I did not know this. Little Marco, and after Trump named him that some few years ago, I will never be able to shake Marco Rubio as Little Marco. But did y'all know that Little Marco was threatened his life by Venezuela? Because he'd got on the Senate floor and told what they'd done and what a threat they were to the United States. So they basically took a contract out on him, so to speak. In the end, it would be Marco who got to help take them down and, well, run that country now. Careful who you throw sticks at. And that's the truth there. Maduro has pleaded not guilty along with his wife in court. That happened yesterday. Trump has cut off, and I think we mentioned this yesterday, but it's worth saying one more time. Trump has cut off $10 billion in funding to 5 of the states for child care, social services, and so much more. New York, Minnesota, Illinois, places of that nature there is what we're talking about. Here's do you remember, I saw the video, and I didn't pay much attention to it. It was several senators that made a video and was telling the United States troops not to abide by their orders. Did y'all remember seeing that? I did, and I thought that just doesn't sound right. One should never do that. The commander-in-chief is head. Y'all know Senator Mark Kelly? Now, he's retired from the military, but Rumpro, I don't think he saw this coming. Pete has demoted him, which means his retirement now will go down because of what he said and what he did to the military. There could be more harsh punishment should he do that again. But they've took his rank down a notch, which will make his retirement plan sink. That was swift action, was it not? We go to Fox News. Let me show you this picture. Y'all ever seen that before? That is the suspect that attempted to break into JD Vance's house. His Ohio, not where he lives now, but where he moved from. Of course, they weren't at home. They were in Washington. Police responded to it. He broke windows out of the house, attempted to get in, I think with possibly a hammer. He is the son of a wealthy doctor. But, wait a minute. He didn't like that, so he's recently changed his name to Julia, allegedly, by the New York Post. That girl, let's ask her about that. It's the first time somebody's been named after her. The kid was baby-faced, 24, 25 years old. He knows better. We often see this next generation that just can't deal with reality. Yet again, that's a case of it. JD has acknowledged that it happened, said that they're okay. They were unoccupied. What will happen? Now, that's a pretty serious thing there. That's the Vice President of the United States. Very, very serious. We've got so much more coming up. We're going to get into your weather forecast next. We'll be right back in just a moment to get this day underway.
On a hot day chasing crime in Meridian, to make a man thirsty, there's no better way than an ice-cold Coca-Cola to quench your thirst.
Or an ice-cold Diet Coke if you prefer that flavor.
No matter where you're at, stop by a local store and support that store and Meridian Coca-Cola. They're supporting us every day.
The Scotty Ray Report studio is sponsored by Environment Masters, providing hassle-free heating and cooling, plumbing, and electrical services since 19... And welcome back. Good morning to the city of Meridian. They're up and at 'em today. Glad to see them joining us there. Miss Diane, welcome. Let's get into that forecast now.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA.
1989, we set the record with a high of 78. We'll be close today because today's high is set for 73. 1924, we were all gathered around a fireplace. That is, if you were around back then, but no central heat and air back in 24, was it? My, oh my. Can y'all believe that's been 102 years ago? And look where our nation is now. Our highs today, as we look at this, scattered across Mississippi, 73 today in Meridian, 72 Philadelphia. As you go northward, it gets a tad bit cooler by the time you pass Columbus Air Force Base and we get up to Tunica. Right at that 69, 68 degree mark. Down the river we go and it warms up to 76 at Natchez, 72 on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. By tonight, we'll drop to 55 in Meridian. We'll see 54-ish there in Louisville and Philadelphia, 48 in Tupelo, and about the same there at the state line. Over at Vicksburg, 55 tonight, and Gulfport staying a little bit warmer than Meridian at 61. As we go to Alabama, this is what we'll see today. And where did Alabama go? I lost it. We're going to see about 55 there in Demopolis. I don't have it pulled up, but woof. Now, here's our next threat that we have. This is rolling in on Friday, and I want to remind you that we are a few days away from this. This line, if what we're looking at, a level 2, the Meridian area right now under a level 1. This level 2, severe storms, a tornado cannot be ruled out if you're in the yellow here. This is going to cut across right through Lawrence, Mississippi, as you look at Newton here. And we'll get those outer edges of Decatur, go into Neshoba County, take all of it, portions of western Kemper County there at Ford Store, right there at the line, Latimer's, as we get over into Preston, Linville, those areas will be a level 2. And as we go into Noxubee County, anybody that is west of Highway 45 will also be in this level 2. Most of the state is under a level 2. And I say all of this of we're these few days out to where this could shift and the Meridian area also fall under this. Now, right now, Meridian's just going to see severe storms, some damaging wind gusts. But don't hold your breath, because we're a few days away from this weather event. We'll be here to walk you through it at any given time that it happens there. It's going to be mainly Friday afternoon late into the darkness, and we'll be here to bring you that live as it happens there. Cooler weather. Look at this as we see this coming across the bottom of Mississippi and Louisiana and Texas. Here's what the forecast holds for us. There's where it gets cooler off in days as the weekend approaches. 73, 75 tomorrow. We'll see 76 on Thursday, and it will be just like summertime by Friday. Then the rain moves in and things start to cool down. We'll only make it to 60 on Saturday with that 30% chance of showers. But by Sunday morning, you better grab a jacket before you head into the First Baptist Church. It's going to be chilly, 60. Dropping to 51 on Sunday and 52 on Monday. And look at these nighttime lows. 27 Sunday night. Brr. That's cold, isn't it? As we look at here, the outlook, by Tuesday, we're getting back to the 60s and still some 50-degree weather there, but nothing cold, cold, cold or hot, hot, hot. We're kind of in the medium there, mid-50s to 60s during the daytime, and medium 30s, anywhere from 35 to 40 for nighttime lows all the way through the 20th. But we got a couple of days of cold weather on the way. Now let's look into our fishing calendar today, brought to you by Parker's Wholesale. We'll see that perfect time to fish will be this afternoon from, well, let's call it 2:15 to 4:15. A minor time this morning around 8:30 to 10:30. Let's talk about sunrises and deer hunting as we look at this. Wimberley brings us this. Today is an average day to deer hunt. Southwest wind 5 to 10, but gust. Don't do any burning, because it's going to gust up to about 20 miles an hour this afternoon. Major times to go deer hunting today will be at 2:08 to 4:08, right before dark. Now remember, it gets dark at 5. Now we've got another time this morning from 9 until 10. If you can do an early morning hunt, that'd be perfect there. Sunrise happens at 6:56. Sunset rolls in at 5:04 p.m. this afternoon. Let's go back and take a look at radar. We do have a lot of fog in the area this morning. You could see some of that. Drive a little bit slower as you head out. Let's pull this up so you can see here. Here's Doc's Toyota radar as we zoom in on this. We get into our first dense fog advisory there in Wayne County, taken in Laurel, Hattiesburg, Macomb, and all these areas to Slidell. It is thick as you get to Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Iberia, all along there. Now, there is fog in our area as well, just not as thick as it is there. As we go east and you go down 45 to Saraland, Mobile, it gets really, really thick. Look at this on the coast here around Foley, Alabama, Gulf Shores. It's thick. Fort Walton Beach even getting a little of this. Bruton, Alabama, we'll see it all the way up to Camden. Thomasville's got a lot this morning also. Troy, you're getting a bunch. Even over in Auburn, lots of fog this morning. The further south you go, the worse it will get. As we look at the northern half of Mississippi this morning, it looks pretty good. Not a lot going on in Tupelo. Fort Smith, Arkansas, you can't find it. Fog is so thick. Over in Asheville, as we get into Greensboro, South Carolina, we got a lot there. Roanoke, Richmond, Virginia has fog this morning. And up in Ohio, we got a few showers and a little bit of that snow flurries coming across there. Des Moines has it. Milwaukee getting a lot of rain this morning. And as you get into Minneapolis, you will see snow and sleet in those areas there. Just be careful wherever you're headed this morning. It could delay you. I know we've got a lot of truckers that travel out of our area all across. Billings, North Dakota, look up through there. North Dakota, South Dakota, we're getting some snow in those areas too. And Wyoming. Just be careful wherever your boots are planted this morning before you head out. Drive slower, be careful. 6:58, we'll be right back with the morning show kicking off at the top of the hour. Y'all hang tight. We got to make a cup of coffee, and we'll join you back in just a moment at the Scotty Ray Report.